Hello everyone. Welcome to Creative Ends International. Welcome to my platform. Today I'm making a video on this beautiful Zara cap, and it's like igele, so it has two different patterns, and I would be making video on the two different patterns. So after this video I will drop the video for the second pattern because it seems to be trending. Okay, so this is Zara cap. We are going to start by preparing a Zara as the base. Then before we go ahead to do the placement of every other design, so it is Zara cap. Okay, so welcome to my platform. We are going to look at the measurement and all the processes that we will need to get this done, and get it done like a pro, as in pro. All right, so welcome. If today is your first time joining me, you are welcome to my platform. This platform is known as Creative Ends International. So I'm starting with Mako and Asoke. So I'll be writing out the measurements. The Mako I'm using is 18 inches. 18, the length of the Mako. Yes, you heard me right. The length of the Mako is 18 inches and the width is 2.5 inches. And then the length of my Asoke is 30 inches. 30 inches by 18, because when you join 3 you get 18. So I just go ahead and start by placing the Mako in between the first layer of the Asoke, and then I'll fold it like this. So I used my hot glue to do this. If you don't have hot glue, it's not a big problem. You can use your liquid glue like UHU, UHN, and maybe E6000, E7000 will do the work. Just that you have to give some time for it to get dried if you are using that. Okay, and then after giving this fold, we are going to take another fold, but please, we want to add elastic to the edges. Now on each side of my edge I have 6 inches, so I also cut out 6 inches of elastic. It's not a mistake. Some people will say, oh, why don't you just cut 3 inches or 4 inches? I like something that is convenient for me. You know, when you cut something too short, sometimes you find it difficult to pull it out. So I always like working with what I have to work with and I would be comfortable. So on each side of the Asoke we have 6 inches extra Asoke on each side. All right, so also I have 6 inches elastic to fix to it. Okay, so we fix on the same line with the Mako, the first Mako. Okay, so we just place it on the same line with the Mako, and then just use your pin to pin it down. Pin it down, but that part that we are pinning down, we are still going to use our sewing machine to sew it, because just pinning down is not going to help you at all. So we are going to sew it down. But before we sew down, I would like to explain a part of it that is also needed. Okay, so after we are done pinning down, we are going to fold the Asoke again. Okay, take it up this time. The first time we took it down. Don't fold like this, please. Don't fold the way you see the illustration I just showed now. Fold like this, and then take the next one from this side and fold it to cover the Mako that is still showing. Okay, so when we fold it like this, we are going to use hot glue again to put it down to close it. Okay, some persons can sew on top of the Mako. So when they fold like this, they just top stitch. But remember that if you are using that option, the thread with which you top stitch will be showing at the center of the Mako, or on that same line where you top stitch, and you don't want that to happen. It's going to mean roughness for your work. But assuming you don't have any glue and you need to do that, you can just use embellishment to cover the that particular line where the thread is supposed to be showing. So you just go ahead and use your embellishment to cover it. So carefully we go ahead and we keep gluing. Okay, we just keep gluing for it to sit. And there's one other aspect of this that I would like to explain. When you glue it like this, now you have to make conscious effort to ensure that the Asoke is firm, is smooth on the surface, because the surface is the part that is facing down, so that the Zara don't look like is having excess fabric. You have to ensure that it's tight. So when you pull, remember that the part where you are pulling from has excess fabric. So if you are not careful, you might not really pull along the same line and you will not get good result. So you have to ensure that you pull along the same line and ensure that it is firm. Okay, because the front needs to be smooth, and that one is very very important. So we have different processes of making Zara cap. This particular step is because we needed to attach the elastic at the back. And why we are now attaching elastic to the back of Zara is that you cannot tell for certainty that this cap will fit into your client's head, but when it is stretchy, then anybody can really wear it. So sometimes we use this method and sometimes we use that detachable method. So you can see we have fixed it, and we have the back, this is the front, and the back is there. So remember that the elastic is there and we are supposed to sew down the elastic. So I will take it to my sewing machine, and then I'm going to sew the part where the elastic is. Okay, I'm going to just sew it across. You don't sew it on a straight line, you sew it across like that. You see the illustration I'm doing with my hand, that's how you sew it. So I'll take it to the sewing machine and get done with that. So I have sewn, so you can see that the elastic, you see, I've sewn. So we are still going to do another sewing, and that is closing this part. Push your elastic to this side and close that part. Make sure that you are not going to sew on top of the elastic. So you sew like this part that is lifting now, you sew it. So when you sew it, it will allow you to pull the elastic, and the elastic will also pull the fabric, and then you sew that part you see me illustrating again, you sew it down. So now I am done with all what I just finished illustrating to you. I have sewn down all the part I need to sew, sewn down the elastic on both sides. Then you are going to check that the total length you have after sewing down your elastic and everything, pulling the fabric, should at least get up to 24, you know. Then you are now going to take the measurement of the head size, so like normally head size for adult is 22 inches. So if we are working with 22 inches, it will mean that on a fold we will use 11 to sew. But again, because it is stretchy, 11 might be too big, you understand. So you can just do like you are sewing turban, 10.5. So you measure from the middle of the Mako, 10.5. So that 10.5 on a stretch will give us 21 inches. But because it is elastic, of course it can fit into any head, fit into the forehead. You know, some people want to pull their Zara cap down, let it really fit into their forehead perfectly. So when you do it like that, you'll be able to get a perfect fit for your clients head. And of course, the part I'm using needle to pull together now, you can as well take that part to your sewing machine and sew it. Then you now use your needle and thread to pull it together. But for me, I just went ahead to pull it together because it is a training. Do you understand? If I'm working, I will not do this, I will sew it. So please sew your own, use your needle and thread to sew. But again, if you are making it for yourself, you are not making it for any client, of course you can just go, you can use my method. Is okay, it's not going to lose, it's still going to be firm, it's still going to come out, it's still going to give you the result that you needed to get. But just to be really sure that what we are doing is well secured, then I will say um get it sewn. All right, use your sewing machine to run through. So after we pull it together just like I did now, we cut off our excess thread, we turn it out. So look at it now that I turn out, you can see the cap, you see the firmness. And then if we look at the back, you see, it's stretching, so it can easily fit into the head. So to prepare the design, we I don't you can use two methods. You can just go ahead, join your Asoke together, like you want to create all round, you know, like when you fold your pleat together to create your all round. You can go ahead and use that method. Then you have to really be careful with your pleating to make sure that it is accurate. So me, because I always like to see very good results in my work, I always think of the best way out. uh, for everything I want to do, I think of what is the best way out. Okay, so instead of me joining this Ashoke together and pleating like I'm creating all round, I chose to create Ashoke stripes. I created stripes for it. Um I did not go ahead to fold. So what I did to create the stripe is what I'm showing you now. The Ashoke length I'm using is 30 inches. Then I go ahead to split it into two from the middle, and then I will fold it like this against each other, and then give a final fold together, and then I will go ahead and top stitch it. I will top stitch like that. Okay, you see how I folded. So I am done preparing the stripe, and all together I used 15 stripes. 15, I used 15. Okay, so that means that if you are working with half roll of Ashoke, you are going to finish it, you are going to finish the half roll. And if you are not even careful, it might not be enough. Okay, so I started again by sewing the first one to the cap. And the reason I did that is that when you sew the first one to the cap After you finish fixing it using your glue, you can adjust it. You can adjust it. So when you sew it, it will enable you to glue, do your setting. But if you find out that you did not get your placement well, you can lose that first one and shift it, because the glue will not touch the base. The glue will not touch the base. But if you go ahead and use your glue at first, and you later find out that you don't want to uh, you don't like the placement, it might be difficult for you, to actually change your placement. So for the sake of the placement, please placing placing it with your thread, after which you can go ahead and glue. So we start to glue on top of each other. We glue it. Make sure that as you are gluing on top of each other, you are giving it a proper arrangement. Just make sure it is well aligned, as in well arranged, so that you don't make unnecessary mistake. All right, so this is how I'm going to continue. Please, I want you to watch carefully, because watch this video to the end, because I did not for the part where I have the elastic, I have to ensure that I am not placing the stripes there. If not, it's going to hinder the movement of the elastic, and it will make the placement of the elastic useless. So you have to ensure that as you place, your elastic is not covered. So for the sake of time, I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to fast forward some of these processes, so that we don't waste too much time. Thank you so much for joining our Creative Ends International. If you are just discovering us today, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel before you leave. On this channel, we do everything that has to do with creativity, DIYs, and I can tell you a lot of people have testimonies that they are doing well with their creative business, because they happen to be part of this community. So what are you waiting for? Why don't you join us today? Why don't you join us today? We'll be glad you do. Please join us. Thank you very much.